Is it okay to use email to arrange appointments? I love this. I love that this was asked in the context of Ask the CFO. I love that this was asked of a CFO, because when does a CFO ever get asked about appointments? But if there's nothing that we like better, it's to create efficiency, it's to create effectiveness, and it's to use the tools of the trade to do both all at the same time. So, you know what? I love this question. So here's my answer. Okay, I'm going to define here what we mean by okay. The question is it okay to use email? In general, so I mean, what are your goals, right? My goal is to get to the appointment and not to waste a bunch of time doing it, because the actual creating of the appointment is not that interesting to me. Any other takers on that? Anybody have fun and find intrinsic value in creating appointments? If we're on the same page that the act of creating appointments is not why we're here on earth, then use the most efficient method possible that takes the least amount of your time possible. More often than not, that is not accomplished via email. So if we're going to define okay as the most efficient and effective way possible, don't do it over email. Pick up the phone and call, text. Use a method of communication that is either synchronous or doesn't require you to make the appointment. So we'll talk about that, because this has two subsets. Synchronous, that means two people or more communicating live at the same time. If it's in a video call, if it's in a phone call, if it's texting, if it's Facebook Instant Messenger, if both of you are engaged now in back and forth, that's synchronous communication. And yes, make appointments using synchronous communication, because you can have some quick back and forth. Hey, how about Monday at 4? No, that doesn't work for me. How about Tuesday at 5? Right? That's quick. It's a back and forth. You do that same exchange over email, oh my gosh, it's going to take forever. Like fingernails on chalkboard, anybody? Has anybody ever been there? Like, name the number of email back and forths you've had, like the greatest number of back and forths, just to set up an appointment for a half hour to talk about something. Like, probably the highest number of back and forths, we'd have to really be going back in time, but in recent memory, like 5 back and forths. And I was like, no, stop the madness. I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling, and maybe I'll get the person and maybe not. But in recent months, I went to option 2, which is to not have it involve my personal time at all. And there are 2 ways that I know of to have that happen. There are 2 ways to delegate: technology and to people. And I'm fortunate to have both. I have an assistant who's awesome, and her name is Samantha, and she's part of the DCA virtual team. Woo! Go DCA! And she handles some of my scheduling, some of the scheduling that really requires a human touch and human judgment. Also, I use Acuity Scheduler, which integrates with my Outlook calendar. So all I have to do is keep my Outlook calendar up to date with my actual life, which I do anyway, because I can't keep it in my actual head. Therefore, for no additional work except the setup, all I have to do is send out my link. Here's my scheduling link. Here's my scheduling link. Or ask Sam to send it out. Here's my scheduling link. And then scheduling is done without my time being used for that. So, and here's the thing: for group scheduling, you wouldn't want to necessarily use a scheduler, because then the person on the other end might have to coordinate with everybody else, and maybe that's not possible. Maybe we're organizing a meeting of 5 different people. Doodle.com. You create a thing, send out a link, and people vote on the dates and times, right? So for Doodle.com, which has a free version, you go and you say, this is the appointment I'm creating, and these are all the dates and times that work for me. And then you block those off in your calendar so you don't accidentally, or otherwise, book something in that slot. You keep all those slots free, and you send out the link. Everybody who got the link can vote, and they vote on all the slots that work for them, and then you look at what date and time has a check mark from everybody, and boom, you get yourself scheduled. Again, delegating to technology. Don't use email. to schedule appointments unless you think that scheduling appointments has intrinsic value, in which case, go right ahead.